We continue the narrative. These knew each other, though in forms thus strange. Too much. The princess Savitri and Satyavan knew each other across births, in different lives, with forms differing from time to time. Although to sight unknown, although life mind had altered to hold a new significance, though they were not known to each other at the level of physical sight, although the life characteristics and the mental characteristics of the previous incarnation had now changed in order to hold a different meaning for a different purpose, these bodies summed the drift of numberless births. These two bodies carried in themselves the whole thrust of the line of births they had taken, and the spirit to the spirit was the same. Though the forms were different, though the mental and vital formations were different, the spirit of one was the same as before to the spirit of the other. That is, there was a recognition at the level of the soul, amazed by a joy for which they had waited long. The lovers met upon their different paths. These two who had always loved now met, she on her path and he on his, and they were overcome by a joy for which they had waited patiently so long. Travelers across the limitless plains of time. That is, they are not travelers only in the present birth, but in a series of births spread over the endless stretches of time, together drawn from fate-led journeyings in the self-closed solitude of their human past. Each journey of theirs was led by a fate. They were always led to meet each other by a stroke of fate. And after each birth in the past, it was closed for future memory. That is, each was a closed chapter. Each birth, each meeting in that birth was a closed chapter to the next meeting. To a swift, rapturous dream of future joy, they were drawn to each other. Once the past joy had ceased, They had always dreamed rapturously of a joy in the future and the unexpected present of these eyes. Present, here is the present time, the present period. They had met unexpectedly by the revealing greatness of a look. The look that they exchanged was revealing. It was not a casual look, but a loaded look. Form smitten, the spirit's memory woke in sense. The look smote on the external form, and that impact awoke the memory of the spirit in the senses. That is, at the level of the five senses, there was a recognition. There was a past memory. The mist was torn that lay between two lives, Savitris and Satyavans. The vague mist that had lain between the two was torn asunder. Her heart unveiled, and he is to find her turn. Her heart was opened, and his heart also turned to find her. Attracted as in heaven, star by star, as in the skies, a star is attracted by another star. They wondered at each other and rejoiced and wove affinity in a silent gaze. As soon as they saw each other, there was wonder in their look and a rejoicing at meeting again, and the feeling of affinity was textured, woven, as they silently gazed at each other. In the very act of gazing, their affinity was stabilized. A moment passed that was eternity's ray. The moment in which each held the other in look was indeed a ray from the eternal. It was not a usual moment of time. An hour began. At that moment, a new hour began, the matrix of a new time, the foundry or the base from which the new time is to be forged. That was the beginning. To proceed to the next canto, out of the voiceless mystery of the past, the mystery of the past was not articulate. It was held in silence. In the present, ignorant of forgotten bonds, these spirits met upon the roads of time. On the roads of time, as these two spirits are journeying, they have met in the present, which is totally ignorant that there were bonds between them in the earlier births. That is, it is a fresh meeting. Yet in the heart, their secret conscious selves at once aware grew of each other. Though outwardly there was not that memory of the past, in their hearts, their secret conscious selves, souls, grew aware of each other. How did they become aware? Warned by the first call of a delightful voice. The voice of the soul. The physical voice has not yet come. The voice of the soul, delightfully calling, warning them that here he is, here she is. And a first vision of the destined phase. For Savitri, Satyavan's is the destined phase, and for Satyavan, Savitri's is. As when being cries to being from its depths, behind the screen of the external sense. When two persons meet each other and feel an affinity, feel an attraction, it is because the being within one cries out to the being of the other from its depths, where it is stationed, behind the screen of external sense. The inner Purusha functions from within, veiled by the curtain of the senses. As when being cries to being from its depths, behind the screen of the external sense, and strives to find the heart-disclosing word. Once one has the affinity recognition, it has to be expressed, and the being tries to find the exact word that will disclose its experience. The passionate speech revealing the soul's need, the word has also to communicate the passion of the need of the soul. But the mind's ignorance veils the inner sight. The inner being may recognize, but the ignorance, habitual ignorance of the mind, veils it, and only a little breaks through our earth-made bounds. Only a little of the communication of the soul is able to reach the surface. And it was thus. So now they met in that momentous hour, both Savitri and Satyavan met in that significant, pregnant hour. So utter the recognition in the deeps, in the profounds of that being, there is an utter, inescapable recognition. The remembrance lost, but the details of the past are not held, they are lost. The oneness felt and missed. At one time, that oneness was felt and then missed, and now they are on the way to recover. Thus Satyavan spoke first to Savitri. He advances, she holds the carriage, and he speaks. O thou who comes to me out of time's silences. She has not spoken. She has emerged from the silences of time Yet thy voice has wakened my heart to an unknown bliss. Her inner voice, her inner call has stung his heart to an unknown bliss. It is not a bliss of the type that he has known before. Immortal or mortal only in thy frame, he says, obviously, thou art mortal, immortal, but because thou hast assumed this human frame, thou art mortal only in that. And why does he feel that she is immortal, that she has come out of the silences of time? For more than earth speaks to me from thy soul. There is something definitely more and other than this earth that speaks to me from thy soul in its own language. And more than earth surrounds me in thy gaze. Thy gaze casts a spell, it surrounds me, and it makes me feel something else than earth, something more than earth. How art thou named among the sons of men? If thou art mortal, how do they call thee in the world of men? Whence hast thou dawned, filling my spirit's days? From where hast thou come, like a dawn, filling my spirit's days, my soul's days, brighter than summer? Thou art brighter than the brightness of summer, brighter than my flowers. Into the lonely borders of my life, she has dawned into the lonely borders of my life, because his life has been lonely. O sunlight, molded like a golden maid, she appears to him as if she has been molded by sheer sunlight. That freshness, that brightness, that unearthly splendor has been the substance out of which this form, that is Savitri, has been molded. Whence hast thou dawned, filling my spirit's days, brighter than summer, brighter than my flowers, into the lonely borders of my life? O sunlight, molded like a golden maid, I know that mighty gods are friends of earth. It is possible thou belongs to the tribe of gods, because he says, mighty gods are friends of earth. I know that. Amid the pageantries of day and dusk, amid the splendid processions of dawn and dusk, long have I travelled with my pilgrim soul, moved by the marvel of familiar things. Because things have been familiar, their marvel has not been lost upon me. To my pilgrim soul, the soul that is doing the pilgrimage, I have been moved even through the familiarity of usual things. I have beheld the marvel, the marvelous element between the familiar movements. Earth could not hide from me the power she veils. Earth veils the powers from the profane sight, but not from me. Even though moving mid an earthly scene and common surfaces of terrestrial things, my vision saw unblinded by her form. Normally, the forms of earth, they blind our vision to the superficialities of existence. But unblinded by her forms, my vision has beheld something, and that is, the Godhead looked at me from familiar scenes. The familiar scenes did not conceal the Godhead that is behind them. And I have witnessed the Godhead looking at me through the familiar scenes. I witnessed, and in what ways has he seen the Godhead? I witnessed the virgin bridals of the dawn behind the glowing curtains of the sky. When the dawn breaks, it is as if a virgin has come with her bridal raiments, and he witnesses these behind the glowing curtains of the sky. The sky breaks into various colors. Behind those colors, hues, he has witnessed the virgin bridals of the dawn. Oh, vying in joy with the bright morning steps, I paced along the slumberous coasts of morn, taking joy, enjoying myself with the movements, steps forward movements of the bright morning. I have walked along the slumberous coasts of morn, the sleepy banks of the mornings. Oh, the gold desert of the sunlight crossed. As the sun comes up, there is so much of heat, so much of sunshine, that all looks like a golden desert. And he has crossed, traversing great wastes of splendor and of fire. Oh, he describes step by step the dawn, the early morning, the midday sun. Oh, met the moon gliding amazed through the heaven in the uncertain wideness of the night. He has watched with amazement the moon gliding through the heaven. In the uncertain, you can't be sure of anything in that night, but it is in the vastness of the night. He has watched the moon gliding through heaven. Oh, the stars marched on, the long sentinel routes. The stars are keeping watch on their destined routes. They are the sentinels of what is going on, pointing their spears through the infinitudes. The sparkles of the stars, they are the spears. Through the infinite vasts, they are pointing downwards. The day and dusk revealed to me hidden shapes. They were not routine movements of day and dusk, but they had some hidden shapes, and they were revealed to me. Figures have come to me from secret shores, not the open physical shores, and happy faces looked from ray and flame, through the rays of the sun, through the flame of the sunlight, bright sun. Happy faces have looked at me. That is to say, all along he has been accustomed to see hidden faces, pry into the hidden secrets and watched the gods, the powers, across the whole day and night. So this is not a surprise for him that one god or deity should appear in the form of Savitri. That's what he is going to say.